we doing? What are we laying as a foundation for us to succeed individually, even as we move in the success of collectively? Yes.
Let's go to the conversation. You see, when the year begins, everyone has a resolution. This year I must buy a vehicle, I must do a house, I want to put cattle, I want to do chicken, poultry, stuff like that. Resolutions are very everywhere, okay? But then these resolutions, it's like they happen in a crowd, yeah? Those of us who will go to an overnight prayer meeting in a church, it gets to midnight and we are led by the minister to declare resolutions for the new year. But then on a personal level, how are we supposed to approach these resolutions? Or how are we supposed to approach, before we start even making resolution for the year, how are we supposed to approach it?
Thank you so much. Actually, New Year resolutions didn't start today. They started about 4,000 years ago. That was during the Babylonian Empire, during the time when the citizens used to inaugurate their king every year. They used to take about 12 days at the beginning of the year to inaugurate their king. But if the king has a period that is ruling, then they used to use those 12 years to declare their allegiance to the king and say the things that they are going to do for that country or for that area. So on ourselves, every year, actually at the end of the year, 31st towards 1st, most individuals engage in coming up with New Year resolutions. The New Year resolutions can range from changing your habits, where you eat, looking at your health, what maybe your weight is so much, you want to reduce, you cut on your weight. At the same time, you also look at your incomes and your finances. How have you been spending? What is it that you need to do differently in a new year? You declare certain milestones and goals that you want to realize. So in such a way, you come up with better ways of addressing maybe your new coming year. It's just like laying a foundation that will guide you for the next phase of your year. So looking at New Year resolutions is a critical foundation of every individual and every family at the beginning of the year. Sometimes for you to come up with New Year resolutions and address them, sometimes I look at a systematic arrangement of how you can be able to realize that. The first thing that you need to do is to look at your past year, assess your financial successes, areas where you did badly and areas where you need to improve. So through that, you list down some of the areas that you did not succeed and come up with interventions on how you may want to address them in the new year.
Yes.
Then come up with things that you did not do that you feel can be able to change your life in the new year. So once you look at them, then you list and document what you want to do in the new year in an area where you are easily able to view almost every day. Because sometimes what is hidden, it may not only escape your sight, but it can also escape your mind. So once you put it in a documented area, you write it down somewhere where you can be able to view every single day. Then once you do that, you develop a clear budget of what you want to achieve in the next year and commit resources which can assist you realize that. At the same time, there are several other things that you need to do that you must ensure that they are done. You must make sacrifices. Sometimes you used to spend so much in a given area, maybe this time around you want to cut down on such expenditure. Your incomes, you assess your incomes over a given period of time. How much comes in to you as incomes and how much goes out. Sometimes I look at an aspect of journaling your expenditures every single day, whereby you say, by the end of the day, you ask yourself, where does your money go? So you list down areas where you spend your funds. And then ask yourself, did this really qualify for this expenditure that I was able to make? So in the next period...
Or did I prioritize well?
Did you prioritize well? As you make your New Year resolutions, it's also important sometimes to understand that there is professionalism, which professionals who are in that area. You may want to engage a profession to guide you in determining what you think is right. You may want to take a financial literacy course which can increase your capacity in terms of developing those resources, those resolutions.
Yes.
At the same time, you may also want to involve your family. You know, sometimes you sit in a corner and you come up with resolutions. What you don't know is that your family and the friends determine so much of what you spend. Because
the excitement, maybe we're seated somewhere, maybe here, even at work here, and then someone decides, this year, I must buy a vehicle.
Yes.
Then out of excitement, I also say, this year, without looking at what that declaration means or what that commitment means to me, my financials and my family.
Yes.
Okay.
Actually, when you involve your family, it makes them to be part of your resolutions.
Okay.
And when they are a part of your resolutions, you can be assured of success. Maybe you've been taking like vacations to different areas. You may want to take vacations to other areas which you think are convenient and able to match your revenue. At the same time, you don't actually...
You see, before you continue, you see, this is an African setting.
Yes.
We are that much. We are final. When I say something, I've finished.
Yes.
Do you think trying to involve family, wife, kids is not African?
Yeah, it may not be African. It may not be African, but that is where you'll fail.
Okay.
Because now, when you involve your family is the main cost center of most of your expenditures.
Yes.
They may also be participating in generating your revenue. So if you tell them, this year we want to generate this amount of revenue for us to do this and this. So once they are a part of your plan, they might have an extra energy in terms of assisting you in generating that. Or sometimes when you want to spend on certain area, they might remind you that, Daddy, you said this year you didn't want to spend on this area. Why are you spending? Or maybe you are not committing yourself.
Checks.
Yeah.
Okay.
They kind of assess what you are doing and give you checks and balances on areas where you need to succeed.
So you believe in the concept of New Year's resolutions?
Yes, I do believe.
But then there are other people who think that what happened last year should provide continuity, as instead of doing new things, what I started last year or 2 years ago or 5 years ago should just continue.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
If you succeeded last year and there are some best practices you want to carry on to this new year, it is still okay. You can carry on because those are areas where you need to carry on to. But there is one, the fourth president of the United States of America said that plans are useless, but plans are indispensable. So sometimes when we make our plans, they may not appear to be something significant, but at the end of the day, they guide how we succeed in whatever that we do. So if we don't plan, definitely we are planning. The only plan we are making is the plan of failing. Yes.
But then you see, before we go to the second aspect, I want you to look at maybe it's battle of egos, because whenever you see, this Western Kenya community is very interesting. We tend to do things the way we are used to doing them. So there is a certain way we do things. So when you bring in a new concept, it's the uptake is usually very small, very slow. What should we be conscious of every time we want to make a new resolution, especially in terms of growing our economies on an individual level?
Yeah, what we need to be conscious of is what is our level of ability or capacity in different aspects.
Yes, yes.
For example, if you are to look at our finances, if for example somebody is on fixed income, people who are on fixed income are like, for example, people who are employed, people who are pensioners who are earn a monthly income, people who have even retired but invested in certain areas, but they are drawing a fixed income every single month. So when we look at such incomes, it determines how much you can be able to invest on.
Yes.
At the same time, there are people who are in the businesses. people are in businesses, they may have money in different seasons of the year. Sometimes they have less, sometimes they have more. But when you do a smoothing curve across all their incomes, then you can generate how much they receive. So from your revenue base or your incomes as an individual, you can be able to determine what areas can you be able to achieve over a given period of year,
yes,
and what strategies can you do. Sometimes we look so much on our expenses, but to me, sometimes I really don't look at that. Sometimes expenses can be higher, but you can still stay afloat by ensuring that you have more incomes to cover those expenses.
Okay.
And in so doing, for example, when you look at your income, you may want to supplement what you earn as your income. You may want to take a loan. You may want to maybe invest in certain area which can give you additional income. If you are working and maybe you have your employer allows you to work for overtime, because overtime is normally paid higher than the normal working hours.
Yes.
You may want to have an arrangement with your employer to work extra time. If you have a hobby that can generate income, you may want to convert that extra time and make more money. So that at the end of the day, you don't look at your expenditures without necessarily generating additional income to cover your expenses to reach your new year resolved goals.
Okay.
Yes.
So how is inflation going to impact individuals? How 2025, there is no way of knowing from a layman's point of view, but you're a professional. How is this inflation going to impact individuals, and what should they do in case it's impacting them negatively to mitigate?
Okay, thank you so much. Inflation definitely affects the purchasing power of individuals and households. When we have high inflation, it means you cannot predict how our expenditures will move. At the same time, the amount of money that we had yesterday, the same amount of money cannot purchase the same basket of goods that we were able to purchase yesterday.
Yes.
So, for example, if you look at over the years, if you had like 10,000 shillings in the year 2000, for example, and 10,000 shillings in the year 2025, what the basket of goods and services 10,000 could do in 2025,
worlds apart.
It's worlds apart.
Yeah.
So generally, the purchasing power of the shilling keeps on reducing,
going down, yes,
affected by inflation. But sometimes inflation is not necessarily bad, because inflation enables economies also to grow. When you have like zero inflation, it doesn't mean that you are doing so well. That's why institutions target inflation of between 2.5 up to about 5%, such that over time you can keep on growing over certain aspects of life. So to mitigate over inflation, definitely you need to look at your incomes and include inflation as part of your planning.
Okay.
Because if you don't include inflation as part of your planning, you might think the 10,000 you had yesterday will purchase the same items that you purchased yesterday.
Okay.
So that will enable you to work extra hard and generate more income, knowing that the amount of money you have can be eroded by the inflationary activities which might happen over a given period of time. So to mitigate against that also, it also requires you to be aware of certain commitments that you have that are affected by inflation. For example, if you are taking a loan, then you need to consider how inflation will affect the funds that you are going to receive. If you are somebody who has invested, let's say in bonds and in treasury bills, you might want to look at how inflation will affect your actual real incomes that you are going to receive from that, so that as you make your own plans, you make plans which can be realized based on the existing circumstances that you operate in.
Okay.
Yes.
And then there is this issue of cost of living.
Yes.
What do we do? What can individuals do to reduce their personal cost of living? Because you just talked about the basket, the food basket which we need to buy. My 10,000 shillings is not buying me the same amount of stuff. So that is, in layman's language, is translated to mean cost of living is going up.
Yes.
Now, what do we do to keep it minimum?
Okay. I think cost of living, especially like in a country like Kenya, speaking of the time like now, it's really hitting so much on families. and especially people who earn fixed incomes.
Yes.
People who are employed. You see, when you are employed, it takes time for your employer to consider increasing your salary.
Yes, yes.
So, but the cost of living does not wait until your employer increases your salary for it to rise. Yeah, for instance, for example, if you look at our inflation rates, generally over time we've not been doing so well, but in 2024 we did relatively well.
Okay.
Again, when you come into the households, whenever they are determining the effect they receive now from the environment where they operate in, it affects them in one way or another.
Okay.
For example, if you are staying in a rental house, your landlord may decide to increase your rent, but your salary has not increased.
Yes.
If you are purchasing a different basket of goods, the prices in your areas where you are purchasing might go up. So as households or as individuals, you may want to use different aspects to address that. Maybe if you are staying in a high-end area and your income is not able to support that, then you might discuss with your family. That's why we said at the beginning, you will include your family in your New Year resolutions. You might move to a relatively cheaper environment, rather than staying in a high-end area where your incomes cannot be able to support.
Yes.
If you stay in a community with the individuals, you might want to tell them to consolidate their purchases. Maybe you purchase similar items, you purchase together and purchase in bulk. So then you take advantage of the economies of scale in the purchasing, because when you purchase in bulk, you are likely to receive discounts and you are likely to purchase at a relatively cheaper per unit cost as opposed to when you purchase as an individual. If, for example, you are using a high-end vehicle and you have a relatively maybe a vehicle which does not consume fuel so much, you might want to use more on certain journeys. The vehicle which does not consume more fuel as opposed to the other one which uses a lot of fuel.
Yes.
Yeah, so there are so many. Instead of hiring your own individual security, if you stay in an estate, you may want to talk to your individuals in that area and hire an estate security to man your area. And so doing collectively, you could have addressed the cost of living around the area.
Cost per unit. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
When they keep on saying that when it is hard, it's the best time to invest. Give us some of the smart investment options that people have in 2025.
Okay, investments generally is you may not be able to invest if you don't save. You must be okay. You must start by saving before you can move to investing. Yeah. So if you save, it gives you the foundation and the ability and the capacity to invest.
So you are saying I should not start imagining of investing in anything if I have zero investments, zero savings as we speak.
Definitely. Because the mistake that we normally do, for example, when you receive your income, what do you normally do? You find a situation whereby you are likely to save or to invest what remains after you have spent. Yeah? That's what happens.
Yes.
You invest the remains that happen to be in your pockets. They change after you have finished spending. But the other way is how we are supposed to do it, whereby you have a specific saving culture which does not change, whereby you say every month I take 30% of my income, I save. Over a given period of time, you have accumulated your savings. From the accumulated savings, then you can predetermine, prioritize your investments and carry out, now take that money into your investments. At the same time, to ensure that you grow your savings, nowadays the technology has enabled us in a manner that we can automate our savings. For example, there is something organized in financial institutions called standing orders. Because now it's difficult for you to, even timing can be difficult for you to know when you are supposed to save and how much you are supposed to do. You can make an arrangement with your financial institution and institute a standing order, which, let's say if you earn your salary on 28th, or if you are in business and you are sure that by 28 you have a certain stock of reserves, it automatically withdraws money from your account and puts it to your savings account automatically.
Okay.
Now, from those funds accumulated over a given period of time, you can engage them in different types of investments. In our environment, you may want to invest in areas where you have passive, you don't participate in generating that income, which comes in from your investment. For example, if you invest in treasury bills, your role is very, very small. If you invest in treasury, corporate or government bonds, your role is just to put in your money, and that investment will be earning you money at a given periodic period of time.
Yes.
Again, you may want also to invest or engage in certain areas which require your physical participation. For example, if you invest in a business and maybe you are the one running it, then you are required to be physically present there for you to monitor your investment and see how it's running, maybe address some of the challenges which come in day to day. At the same time, for example, if you invest, like let's say in a vehicle, then and you are the driver, then it means you are supposed to be there. But if passively you engage somebody, then you don't need to be in that place. So it depends on the choice of investment that you make, whether it will involve your physical presence or it will involve your passively, and you'll be able to generate that.
Okay. Yeah. You see, in most cases we get windfalls.
Yes.
Okay. With zero savings. So what has come is what you have. Then you start savings. For those who are lucky, it will go up to 5 years. But into the second year, the same investment dwindles and the investment runs dry. There is no money. You get. You put in $1 million. After 6 months, you have nothing. After having spent so much on that. So it's because of lack of savings that these investments go the way they go. Or what is it that affects businesses to have lifespans of under 2 years? If you have 3 years plus, then you start looking at the 5th year. When you go past the 5th year, you can relax that this business will actually have a life of its own. But under 5 years, you are still on the red zone with this investment of yours. So you are saying lack of savings is largely responsible for these behaviors and affecting the investments people make.
Not necessarily, because if you look at most business startups, in like 100 business startups, then almost 50% do not go beyond the second year.
Yes.
Then another almost close to 20% do not go beyond the 5th year.
5th year, yes.
And another like 10% will not go beyond the 10th year.
Yes.
So for a startup to run 10 years, there is a foundation which it must be laid on, which is solid, which can sustain. It is the going concern of that entity. One of that foundation may not necessarily be savings.
Okay.
It might be the corporate governance. Corporate governance of that specific institutions, how it's governed, how entities can trust whatever that it's generating, and the commitment of the managers in that entity. Although sometimes there are some things which happen, calamities which you can't predict, that can wipe out businesses. For example, the COVID-19, nobody predicted it.
Yes.
But when it came, you know that it wiped out several businesses, even some which had solid foundations.
Yes.
So at the end of the day, when you establish a business startup, then it requires you to come up with different foundations to govern that.
Yes.
Another area that you may want to consider, in addition to corporate governance, ensuring there is a proper management, there is also business insurance.
Okay.
Yeah, whereby you insure your business against certain calamities which might come in the process of undertaking that.
Yes.
For example, if you have a business, although most insurers shy away from accepting insuring businesses against like calamities, pandemics, strikes, demonstrations, and such kind of things. Those are some of the things when they come in, they can easily wipe out businesses. So unless such engagements or such foundations are laid, then it becomes relatively challenging for business startups to move beyond a given period of time.
Yes. Okay, we continue after a break. We'll be talking about the county government of Kakamega. You will now tell us what is it that you're doing, but that's after the break. Before we do that, I just want to tell you about JFC Munene College of Health Sciences. The institution is based out in Thika. The January intake is underway. They usually have January, May, and September intake. They have quite a bit of programs that you can take advantage of. You need to follow. You need to follow them. You need to understand. You need to talk to them so that you can be able to just position yourself. Go to the website at www.jfcollege.ac.ke. Just interact with what they have. Students in that college are required or are encouraged to have the passport on admission because they have chances outside the country. They do placements, they have contracts with the county governments. So you need to know that when your kid goes to JFC Munene College of Health Sciences, you is assured of, number one, doing a startup of his own, or getting a placement or employment for the future of that person. So take advantage of that because the opportunities are available. When we come back, we will go into the administration of the shilling in the county government, under the county government of Kakamega. Please stay tuned. This is CKS.
JFC Munene College of Health Sciences. The Morning Scoop is sponsored by JFC Munene College of Health Sciences.
Westv, tazama ilivyo.
Oh my goodness, I have a gallery there, works of art. I've done so much for this country.
Within the next 50, 40 years, 100 years, we shall have a banyole, no mabaluya.
No kole kazi, no tiya nende tsingufu. Nyasa leta kumeta ebindu bindi bino byose.
Kunaleta abana befwe abesekhana nabasyani okudekya okubana bima bilayi nende nibadekya banadekya bakhana babamanyire okutulazi paka akulu. Nebusamye niyo bakangala ni kusika balingange kuba batulire becha
makabusareti neche namukulira virumbeti amukulira namwako chisendi
asomya babana almost free. From here, I have a professor in Spain.
Ulimesina bulia no mchamutira sabuli memwaka na bamaya lingo amungonera byakhulya
kulira babana masone kumukundata ukukonda no kana kana abana banu khasome bari
chingana kaniche
unamala wakana kana lukaline your brain is broken.
Welcome to JFC Munene Colleges, where education meets innovation. Our mission is to provide our students with a world-class education that prepares them for the future. We offer theater technology, orthopedic technology, mortuary science, science lab technology, counseling psychology. At the College of Business Technology, we offer hospitality, business and accountancy, fashion and design. We are not just preparing our students for the future, we are shaping it. Come join us at JFC Munene College of Health Sciences, where the possibilities are endless.
Westv, tazama ilivyo.
The Morning Scoop is sponsored by JFC Munene College of Health Sciences.
Welcome back. We continue with the conversation. Thank you for staying with the Morning Scoop. Just as I told you about JFC Munene College of Health Sciences. Someone is waiting to hear from you. Please place a call 0700-114-115, 0705-114-115, 0703-114-115. Someone is listening, is waiting to listen from you, and is going to guide you appropriately. My brother.
Yes.
What's happening with the county government of Kakamega? What are the key priorities for 2025? Economic priorities.
Okay, thank you so much. The priorities of the county government of Kakamega are drawn from the long-term development blueprint. So in this case, we start by developing our sectoral plans, which we document what we want to achieve as a county for the next 10 years. So from there, we move to the development of the county integrated development plan, which now specifies what the county intends to do over a period of 5 years. So our county integrated development plan covers the period 2013 to 2027. So the county integrated development plan is anchored in 6 key development priorities of His Excellency the Governor of Kakamega County, Fernandez Baraza, who has identified 6 critical areas of investment and development which will be able to change the overall fortunes of the county. So the 6 development areas of focus are to enhance access to affordable healthcare services, healthcare and water services. So this is an area where His Excellency the Governor has identified that in order for the county to move forward, then we must ensure that the population, as you indicated earlier, Kakamega County is the largest rural population, rural county by population. So the number of the residents that we have in Kakamega must be held for them to critically participate in the development process. At the same time, looking at the provision of water to all homes, His Excellency the Governor has a clarion call, which is known as Amas Humuliango. That is water. Amasi Humuliango. That's water at the doorstep. Yes. So sometimes you understand that it takes quite some time, especially this affects women and girls, to go kilometers to access water. So this becomes a critical aspect of focus of His Excellency the Governor over the next 5 years. Secondly, the Governor has focused on wealth creation and infrastructure development. This is an area whereby he intends to enhance the household incomes of all the residents of the county government of Kakamega. At the same time, in order for them to realize their revenue or their household incomes growth, that they must have the best infrastructure that you can imagine of. For example, when you talk of roads, when you talk of maybe access to clean energy, issues to do with the business working hours, by erecting like high masts in market centers and the rest. At the same time, ensuring that the urban areas are able to match the standards that are in other parts of the country. As you understand, during the time when Eldoret city was being awarded the city status, His Excellency the President of the Republic of Kenya gave the next baton of the next city to His Excellency the Governor of Kakamega County, which is now the key to the next city, which is Kakamega City. The key that His Excellency the President was able to give His Excellency the Governor is on course. And in this case, His Excellency the Governor, in order to advance that, he's been able to recently create 3 municipalities in addition to the 2 municipalities that we have. Currently we have Mumia. We used to have Mumias and Kakamega, but His Excellency the Governor has been able to confer 3 additional municipalities. Which is? We are talking of Matunda, we are talking of Malava and Butere. If you look at them, they are actually able to generate and revitalize incomes of the people and the residents who live in those areas. At the same time,
talking of Matunda sits on 2 counties.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
How is that? Is it a collaboration between the 2 counties, or just once it's declared from the Kakamega side, then the flu will catch the Uasin Gishu side?
Not necessarily. Actually, It may sit on the two counties, but the larger portion of Matunda lies in Kakamega County.
Okay.
And the development focus of the governor is to ensure that nobody is left behind.
Okay.
Sometimes you might think that Matunda is so far, maybe when you look at geographically, when you look at where it sits, but it's a critical driver of the economy of Kakamega County. One, it sits at the boundary. At the same time, it's a transit municipality to Trans Nzoia, Uasin Gishu, and of course to Bungoma and other counties. But it picks and generates significant revenues that accounts for our own source revenue for the county.
What about Moisbridge?
Moisbridge sits now not on our side.
Okay.
That's why
we leave Moisbridge
but
outside.
It sits at the outskirts of our county.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Then the third pillar of development of His Excellency Governor is on food security. You realize Kakamega County has two sub-counties, that is Lugari and Likuyani, which are the grain basket of this country. But as we strive to ensuring that the country is able to feed itself, then we must start from home. We must ensure that our residents are able to get and access sufficient foods throughout the year.
Let me hold you on that a bit. Likuyani and Lugari.
Yes.
How much maize, how many bags of maize do they generate in a year? The two sub-counties.
We may not necessarily look at the two sub-counties over a given period of time, but we can say they generate a significant portion of the maize that we have.
But you don't have numbers, right?
I think I might be able to give you in a short while.
Okay.
Yes.
Go on.
Then in food security, we are actually looking at the ability of the county to feed itself and also to feed other parts of the country. So in so doing, we are investing on several areas which will be able to ensure that at least we are able to feed our own. Other areas that we look at is on livestock, whereby His Excellency Governor has a program on fingerlings distribution and fish feeds, whereby farmers, of course we've been able to excavate ponds, but we are also doing distribution of fingerlings and also fish feeds to ensure that farmers engaged in fisheries, they are able to be subsidized for them to produce. We also have a program on small ruminants, whereby we are looking at the goat and the sheep, which traditionally we have always engaged in, and then distribution of one-day-old chicks to groups across the country. You know, Western is known for chicken. Yeah. Yeah. We can't realize that if we don't significantly and periodically revolutionize how we are ensuring that we engage in such kind of an enterprise. We move from the traditional subsistence to an enterprise whereby farmers are able to participate in the market, in the production of eggs, in the production of broilers, and also in the production of layers, which can be distributed across the entity.
Okay.
In pillar number 4, His Excellency the Governor is focused on quality education. Quality education, you know, when you look at the 4th schedule of the Constitution of Kenya, then you realize that the county government has the mandate of the pre-primary education.
Yes.
We are looking at ECDs and also technical and vocational education. We are looking at county polytechnics. At the same time, His Excellency Governor, along that pillar, he has deliberately moved into ensuring that children who are coming from poor background but are bright are actually able to access quality education by instituting a award bursary program, where last year he was able to award students across the county an amount equivalent to 240 million. Which was able to support children coming from poor backgrounds but are bright. At the same time, in pillar number 5, His Excellency the Governor is focused on socio-economic development. in this area is looking at the vulnerables within the society and areas, the low-lying fruits where we can be able to support for us to significantly make development. In this case, I think you saw recently in sports and talent tapping, in an activity which was held at the Mumia Sports Complex, where His Excellency the President was able, together with His Excellency the Governor, were able to award teams an award of about 10 million Kenya shillings to promote them. That was Mumia's veterans, which actually beat Lirende Arsenal FC to be the champions for the Governor's Cup. At the same time, the Governor has been able to look at the businesses, small businesses, specifically supporting women and youth who are in business, whereby he's been able to award them in the past year. Yes. He was able to award them an amount of 45 million, that's 900 groups, receiving 50,000 each. Coming to about 45 million, supporting their businesses to ensure that they are able to significantly access funds. At the same time, we also have the Kakamega County Microfinance Organization, which through that is also able to give small people who are in small businesses access credit at a relative very low, almost a very low rate of interest, in order for them to access. At the same time, the assessment of these small businesses does not really look at some issues that are looked by financial institutions like collateral, whether you have a title deed or a logbook. Most of these people don't have that. So you look at them and look at their future and their ability to pay the funds which you've been able to access them, to give them, at an interest which they can be able to pay. Then at the end of it all, we also look at the overall governing structure. Any entity, as we say, even on your own individuals or a house or households, the issues of corporate governance. His Excellency the Governor is focused on good governance across all entities of the county government, because that is where you can succeed, that is where you can fail. So in ensuring that good governance is part of his 6-pillar development focus, he ensures that all those who are engaged in service delivery across all government structures are doing what they are supposed to do to serve the citizens of Kakamega County.
Okay.
Thank you.
You see, mostly difficulties emerge in any jurisdiction where people have difficulty getting capital. The 6 pillars you've just listed, you've touched a bit of that. But then looking at the profile of the populations in Kakamega, which you rightly put, the bulk of which is in the rural. Out of the 2 million plus populations of Kakamega, just under, I think under 400 are in urban centers. The rest are in the rural. What is it that the county government is doing to pay attention to these people? I've worked in the villages in Kakamega, and it's not so different from the villages elsewhere, in Busia, in Vihiga, in Bungoma. You see, the stories are the same. You just have to get to a certain place to cross a river. You can't cross a river from everywhere you want to cross a river to, because there is no bridge, and that hampers economic movement. When it comes to housing, you see, each individual is making an effort to put a house of his own. But collectively, what the infrastructure development of Kakamega County, at what stage are we in terms of supporting the populations? Number one, have the right amount of capital to the infrastructure development, and 3, housing.
Okay. Kakamega County is not the same as other counties, as you are indicating. It's relatively different.
If you walk to the rural, my friend, remove a village from Navaholo like this and put it in the slopes of Mount Elgon. No one will not see the difference. It's the same.
The difference is very clear, and you can easily be able to see it.
Okay.
There are several programs and socio-economic empowerment programs that we have, to ensure that the residents of Kakamega County are able at least to enhance their incomes and also they are able to live in decent areas. One such item, if you look at the pillar number 1 of His Excellency Governor on health services, we have His Excellency Governor passed Facility Improvement Fund, which enables now hospitals to collect revenue and spend the funds they receive in delivering services.
Okay.
At the same time, if you go to our facilities now, we have drugs which residents, whenever they go to facilities, they can be able to access those drugs. The facilities are distributed across the county. At the same time, when you look at the water services, then that's where we are. The His Excellency Governor is putting more emphasis on. We said earlier that the focus is ensuring that we reduce as much as we can the distance to the nearest water point or the water center. But the desire is to ensure...
This is for the guys, the rural population.
The
right?
rural population, yes. Yeah.
But then this same guy is supposed to go to Malava. You know where Malava is?
Yeah, that's where I want to come to.
That new, it's called what? That new municipality you guys are working with.
The new municipality.
Okay. And this guy, he can only get to the tarmac, Tande, to get to Malava. Or he has to come to this road from Nabaholo to go to Malava. He cannot cross in between the place and get to Malava. So that is what I'm trying to say. There are a number of bridges that connect these places as largely untouched.
We have quite a number of bridges. Over the last year, we did 25 bridges and box culverts.
Okay.
Which covered different parts of the county. Actually, in Malava, if you went to Kasaya Bridge, it's one of the bridges that the county government is doing, which previously people are not able to cross, but right now they are able to cross.
Yes.
In addition, this year, the His Excellency Governor is putting a lot of investments on the same area to ensure that certain bridges and box culverts which are not covered, then in our annual development plan for the financial year 2024-2025,
yes,
most of them will be covered. We are not saying that we can do everything because resources are scarce.
Okay.
But we are prioritizing resources to ensure that we cover the needs which are there. On infrastructure, as you rightly put it,
yes,
actually that's where His Excellency Governor has put in a lot of emphasis. We have a unique program in the county which covers all the 60 wards of the county. So here we allocate 20 million to all our 60 wards, amounting to 1.2 billion Kenya shillings, which are specifically to be used in transforming the wards, each of the wards.
Yes.
Actually, they are patronized by all our 60 members of county assembly, so that they prioritize the areas that they feel need intervention for them to be improved with the resources which have been used. In so doing, each of the members of county assembly is actually required to use about 10 million to address other sectors, but 10 million should be used to construct 10 kilometers of gravel roads in their region. So if you look at 10 kilometers per ward times the 60 wards that we have, that tells you quickly that we are able to do 600 kilometers of gravel roads every single year. That in itself transforms the infrastructure standards of the county government of Kakamega or Kakamega County at large, as opposed to what you can find in other areas. At the same time, we're also looking at markets, open air markets where people do businesses in the rural areas that, as you rightly said, in all over the world. If you generate products or a produce and you consume it, you don't fetch the market value, and normally the market prices are higher than the household prices or the farm gate prices. So in order to ensure that what we produce is able to reach in the market, we are looking at the infrastructure at the same time constructing of markets to those areas. Our borders, our people engaged in the transportation sector, we are constructing border sheds for all of them, across major stages.
Okay.
So I don't know if you have looked at our border sheds. If you have walked through Kakamega, as you rightly said,
I've seen a few that
they are so different
in strategic places.
Yes. as you. Those are border sheds where the design has integrated wealth creation in one way or another. There is a shop in the same border shed, whereby as the borders are waiting to pick the next customer to the next stage, maybe somebody can be there who can be selling them some of the key items. That's also integrating empowerment of those businesses into that area.
Okay.
Then on the markets, we have also tried to ensure that the kiosks that we have put there, there is water in those areas, and the infrastructure in the markets are equally good. Mm-hmm. Then when you look at the students who go to our county polytechnics, we have looked at the aspects to do with capitation, so that these students, even those who may not be able to afford, can easily be able to do what? To go to those polytechnics by equipping them, mm-hmm. and ensuring that we have instructors, polytechnic instructors, which can be able to guide them while they are going through their training. Mm-hmm. At the same time, we said earlier that when we talk of 900 groups who have been awarded business grants, those groups cover all over the county.
Okay.
And when you talk of a group, when you go to a ward and there is a group, mostly those are households, several households, which have been empowered in businesses and in other activities.
I want you to talk about housing. Do you have a plan with the county government to support the populations of Kakamega by setting up housing units for them?
Housing development,
or that one is under the national government?
Housing development is actually done in collaboration with the national government.
Okay.
Whereby the housing units under the pillar number 2 of the national, the bottom-up economic transformation agenda of the national government, looking at affordable housing. And if you come to Kakamega, especially if you go to Milimani, there is a number of units which are currently going on, and I believe in this year 2025, most of them are likely to be completed, and they'll support. And those are not the only one, because as a county we are trying to, we may not have resources sufficient to generate housing for the residents, but we have created an enabling business environment for them to develop. Yes.
Okay.
How we do that is by ensuring that we have a building approval system which is quite friendly for all those who are engaged in housing, an investment agency which is able to engage private investors who want to come and invest in Kakamega County.
Okay.
That's the Kakamega County Investment and Development Agency, which engages private entities who have interests in generating housing units, decent housing units for the people of Kakamega.
I want us to end here by just looking at entrepreneurial skills development. You see, the bulk of the population, as we said, is in the rural. It means services to these people is imported, right? So the entrepreneurs who are serving these populations are in the services sector, because they have to get this from here and bring it here. Okay, but then what do we need to do, or what skills are most in demand in the county of Kakamega that you may want to encourage populations in Kakamega to take advantage of, so that they can be able to meet the demands on the ground? For example, if you talked about the northern part being the grain basket, what do we need to bring this grain as flour? So it means there are a set of skills that we need to develop for the north. Then on the south, we have a number of fishes. We have tea at the central. So what skills are in, or what is the need?
For example, when you talk of like the northern side, where mostly we engaged in maize production and other agricultural produce, then we might require aspects to do with the extension workers who may want to engage in supporting the farmers engaged in different enterprises. For
where are those skills developed? At the north or outside the county?
There are skills which are developed within the county. That's where we have the county polytechnics. Okay. The county polytechnics develop different types of skills, not only to be used in Kakamega, but also outside. Those skills can also be used outside. At the same time, there are those skills which can be developed outside, because as a county, with the county polytechnics, there are specific skills which can be developed, and there are other skills which can be developed in universities and other institutions outside, but are still required for the people in different areas. Now, when you come to the central region, that's now the headquarter of the county, and where other services are provided. Generally, the skills required there range from maybe the white collar skills and also the blue collar skills, which are developed across the entities. Okay. If, for example, you are talking about the development of the tea factory, I just wanted to note that the development of the tea factory in Madala in Kakamega is an entity which is developed together with the Kenya Tea Development Authority, and I believe at the end of the day, once His Excellency Governor has realized its development, several skills which might be required will be like the engineering skills, which will be required in the development, surveying skills, which are offered by the county government of Kakamega itself. There are also skills in terms of farm extension workers, for example, looking at the quality of the production from the tea farmers across areas. At the same time, they can also be supported in the managerial aspects. Okay. If you go to Malava, where His Excellency is constructing the Malava Dairy, the dairy factory, which is going to take advantage of the milk that we are producing in Kakamega, then similar skills of engineering, management, and other skills which may support the factory will also equally be required there.
But you see, I keep on asking, who advises governments? Because when you construct a dairy farm in Malaba, okay, when you have Shamberere Institute there with enough manpower, you have Bukura. Why do you construct that? Why can't you develop these ones and produce milk for Kakamega in the institutions, which will be a training tool, and it will be, or you want to employ people?
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. If you look at Shamberere, the milk that is produced, we said earlier that the farm gate prices for goods and services that we produce is relatively lower than the market prices. Okay. So Malawa Dairy is going to upscale the milk production and processing so that it fetches the market prices. Okay. At the same time, these other areas cannot have the capacity to handle all the milk that we produce. For your information, we have model smart farms which produce a significant quantity of milk in the county. For example, if you go to Kabras, we have a smart farm there. If you go to Likuyani, we have a smart farm. If you go to Matungu, we have a smart farm. In addition to that, we have farmers who are engaged in milk production. So once you do the aggregation of that milk using the cooperatives that have been enhanced by our cooperative department, then all that milk brought together and used, maybe processed using our dairy factory, it will enable those farmers to fetch the market prices, which will enhance their household income across the board. Okay. Yes.
You see, in 1 minute, I want you to look at manufacturing is relatively low in Kakamega County. And what is it that the county government is doing to support locals to engage in cottage industry? 1 minute.
The support that we are giving is by ensuring they access affordable credit.
Okay.
That is through our Kakamega Account Microfinance Corporation.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Our time is up. I don't want to take too much of my producer's time because he will start denying me my next week's Tuesday show. Thank you so much for staying with Westv. The conversation has been largely informative. I'm so glad. My guest has been very good. I just want to give you another minute for you to do your last word. What is it you'd like to tell the viewers so that they can know what's happening in Kakamega?
Okay,
and in Western, tunatuma salamu.
Thank you so much. Kakamega, we are doing well, and we are doing everything to ensure that 2025, as we set New Year resolutions individually, as a county, we have also set New Year resolutions contained in our annual development plan, and we are working towards ensuring that we realize what we have put in there across all the pillars of our development focus. And we are also engaging the Wananchi to ensure that they understand everything that we do, and they also participate. We say that when you are not in the market, you may not be able to know when prices are high and low. So once they participate in the activities that we do, they'll even be more informed, and they'll be able to reap the benefits that the county government of Kakamega, led by His Excellency Governor, has been able to roll out over this period. Thank you so much. When you get to Kakamega, say hi to people, tell them we love them. Thank you so much. Salamu Stafika. You've just had, there is a bit of demand. Okay, Kakamega has a number of polytechnics, vocational training centers across the county, and then we have the 2 national polytechnics there, and we have a university there. But that's not enough. I want to add you another opportunity. Go to JFC Munene College of Health Sciences. It's based in Thika. It's going to help you understand a bit of the needs that you need to equip yourself with, so that you can offer your support and work to the county government, or to the county of Kakamega. For you to get advantage of JFC Munene College of Health Sciences, please get your phone, dial 0703 114 115, 0704 114 115. Someone is waiting for you. Go to the website www.jfcollege.ac.ke. Someone is waiting to guide you on how you can be able to take advantage of the programs they have and what they can be able to support you with. It's also available for you. Once you get there, you can be able to be equipped to work in both the health sector and the business sector. So just interact with them, and someone is waiting to talk to you right now. On behalf of my director, Kevin Kibet, I want to encourage you to continue interacting with our social media. On X is Westv_Kenya. On Facebook is Westv, and you can also follow me at CKS. It's at Mr. Kitui on X. You can also follow us on Westv Live on YouTube. Please leave a comment and share and subscribe.